Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. I'm super excited to be here to share some new products with you guys that I actually received. It's from a company called Lilah, and they're actually local in California, which I thought was really exciting. And they are now at Sephora, so it's kind of the perfect time to introduce these products. They sent me two of their beautiful products, which just have like unbelievable packaging, and I'm just so excited to share them with you. So without further ado, if you guys want to see a first impression sort of review of their bronzer and their lip and cheek tint, then just continue watching. So really quick before I actually show you guys the products, I want to talk a little bit about the brand. So they're not 100% natural, but all of their formulas are paraben, phthalate, let's see what else, sulfates, and synthetic fragrance free, and they also don't test on animals. One of the ingredients that is going to be in both of these products that if you're 100% natural you might not be comfortable with is talc. On the EWG Skin Deep website, it rates about a 3 on a scale of 1 to 10 in terms of toxicity levels, so that's like borderline low to moderate. So that's just sort of a disclaimer. Everyone has different comfort levels when it comes to talc, so you just have to kind of decide for yourself. But I am really excited to try these products because they look absolutely beautiful. So they sent me 3 products, 2 full-size products, and then they actually sent me this really cool, a lot of reflection going on, sample of their eyeshadows as well. I thought this was a really neat idea. So they have 2 eyeshadow quads, it looks like. They have a Be Fabulous and a Be Stunning, and they gave me the Be Stunning sample. This seems like it would be like a perfect kind of neutral, everyday eye palette. There are a lot of cars passing me right now, so I really apologize if you can hear them in the background. I'll do my best to fix the sound when I'm editing. I think the whole principle behind this brand is that it's for kind of like the everyday woman who just wants a simplified routine, and they create these really beautiful, simple products that are just meant to go from day to night, work to going out, and just like the buildability, is that a word? They're supposed to be really buildable. So I'm going to start off by trying their eyeshadows. I don't have a table or anything in front of me, and I might just use the viewfinder as a mirror. I don't know what I'm going to use. This is kind of like a new setup, so we'll see. I'm going to take the lightest shade and just get that on a fluffy brush and kind of put that all over my eyelid. Oh, that's really pretty. So that's just like a really sparkly sheen kind of color. That's definitely a highlight shade. I just think this is such a great idea. Because you can never try out eyeshadows. Like, no brand does this. Well, not that I know of anyway. So you just commit to buying these eyeshadows and then you might not even like the colors. Alright, I'm going to take the warm brown shade. That's a great kind of neutral transition color, and put that in my crease. This one is not transferring quite as well, but it could be the sample. I'm just like not able to pick up too much from the actual sample paper, whatever you want to call it. So I don't think this is a fault of the eyeshadow, but for sure this color is a lot less pigmented than the original white color that I put on my eye. Alright, so there's like a little something going on, but I don't know if you can see with the white color, I was definitely able to pick up a lot more on the sample card than the brown one. There's actually like a little hole where I was able to pick up a lot, whereas the brown one I couldn't really break through. Taking the kind of third darkest shade, same brush again, this one's transferring a lot better. I'm going to pop that right at the outer V. That's really pretty. Definitely not as pigmented as I was expecting, but product applies really easily. I'm also just like totally falling in love with the first color I used. Gives your eye that kind of like glossy look, almost like a cream shadow. So yeah, it's definitely a really natural amount of pigment, which I think is great if you're kind of like new to makeup or you're a little bit intimidated by darker colors. I'm not seeing any fallout, which is awesome. Now I'm going to grab a small brush and I'm going to go into the deepest, darkest color. And I'm just going to push this along my lash line. Not a ton of pigment again, but it's a really soft, smoky shade that I do think kind of goes with their, this is for the everyday woman sort of thing. You're not going to get a dramatic amount of payoff from it, but you are going to get this really soft, beautiful, smoky eye from this palette. And then I'm actually just going to take like my pinky and go back into the highlight shade and go right under my brow bone for a little extra highlight. And then I'm just going to apply some mascara and it's all done. Well, I'm actually super happy with that eyeshadow, and this is like a really soft look that I would wear kind of every day, or if I was going to work or something like that. It doesn't look like too dramatic or anything, and like I said, you just get this really soft, smooth, it almost like melts into your skin effect, which I'm totally loving. So that is definitely a thumbs up for me. The only color that I didn't really get a lot of payoff from was that middle tone brown color. The warm brown color that I would usually use in my crease. I just didn't really feel like I saw it. And maybe that's because it was just a sample. I don't know, I'll have to get my hands on the actual product and see if maybe it's a little bit more pigmented in there. Now moving on to one of the actual full-size products that I have. Like I said, I already have my face kind of done, so all I need to do is go in with some bronzer and blush, and that is exactly what they sent me, so that's kind of perfect. The packaging is just unreal. You can definitely tell that they put a ton of time and effort into the packaging. It's this beautiful white box that opens at the bottom to this really sturdy kind of, I want to call it a stone, and that's actually what they base their packaging off of. If you guys have ever had those kind of like prayer stones, feels exactly like that. It has a weight to it, which is really unique and interesting. It almost feels like a metal container, so it's not like your average plastic kind of throwaway container. This is definitely like beautiful packaging that I personally would want to keep. And the way that it opens is it actually just slides. So it took me a tiny bit of time to figure that out. I don't know why. I just have not seen packaging like this before, so it was not something that I was used to, but I think it's really cool. There's no mirror or anything to it. It's just the product itself, and then there's going to be two colors. So the dark one is supposed to be the bronze shade, and then the light one is actually a highlight if you want to use it that way. Otherwise, you can just kind of mix the colors together and apply them like a bronzer. So this is in the shade B Sunkissed. I would also just encourage you to go to Sephora and just pick up one of these to feel the weight of it. I think, like I said, it's really unique and it really does feel like one of those stones, so it's just like a fun experience. I feel like now that we're nearing the end of summer, it's more important than ever to kind of have a bronzer that you feel good about, feel comfortable about, because no more sun and you're gonna need some bronze for those winter months. I'm just starting kind of up at my temples where I would usually bronze, and then working down to my cheeks. I think one thing they really emphasize is how buildable these products are, so I'm kind of curious to see. I'm just mixing the two shades together, and I'm always careful not to bring my bronzer too far down my cheek because then it starts to look muddy. So I stop right about here, if that makes any sense, and I just do really big circular motions. And then whatever is left on my brush afterwards, I go to my jawbone, but I think I've told you guys before, I'm terrified of giving myself a beard, so I try not to put too much product down there. Again, I'm noticing that, again, like the eyeshadows, the pigment is pretty natural and nothing too intense, so you can be a little bit heavy-handed with it. I mean, I think that's a really beautiful color. It is 100% not orange, which is something that I am always terrified of with bronzers, because you have definitely seen pictures of people who look kind of like Oompa Loompas, and that's not a good look for anyone. It's really natural, and for someone who has pretty pale skin, it's sometimes hard to find a bronzer that's gonna just look like a natural tan. It's not gonna be too intense, and this is for sure one that I feel like I can go to now, and it's not gonna look too crazy. I think it just gives me this kind of like summery glow and a little bit of shadow where I would want it. I honestly feel like I could use this all over my face with a really light application and just get kind of an all over bronze. And I'm not seeing like big chunks of glitter or anything, which they did mention in the description of it that it has some glitter in it, and I was feeling like a little bit nervous because it doesn't look very glittery in the packaging, but I was nervous that once I put it on my face I would see kind of like big chunks of glitter everywhere, and I'm just not seeing that at all. In fact, it looks like really seamless on my skin and just has this like luminosity to it. Yeah, I'm super happy with that. Also, I think it's admirable that the packaging doesn't get like super dirty when you use it. I don't know if that's just like my way of applying it, that it's not getting super dirty, but the powder really stays in the container and just gets on the brush when you're using it. I know that's a really weird thing to point out, but I don't know if any of you have ever had like beautiful packaging on products and immediately when you use it, it's just totally ruined. I find that really frustrating. So it's really nice that everything actually stays in the container. So the blush comes in the same beautiful packaging. You get this really nice white box, and when you open it, you have like a small version of the bronzer in a little stone. This one doesn't have as much weight to it, obviously, because it's a lot smaller and feels more manageable, especially for travel and such. I would say that these are probably a better weight than something as big as the bronzer, but I have to say I kind of love how the bronzer looks, so I think I would deal with the weight of it and bring it anyway. But I do love just how simple their packaging is. I think it's really beautiful, and I think it's really clever the way that they open, as long as you know that's how they open and you're not like me trying to pry it open. I love this color too. It's very, very pink, and I'm kind of curious to see how the formula is because it doesn't look too soft in the actual container, so we'll see how much pigment you get and whether it kind of melts on the skin or not. This is in the color Be Real, and like I said, it's kind of a pinky coral tone. It's for your lips and for your cheeks. So on a daily basis, I almost exclusively wear the Tata Harper lip to cheek tint just because I really love that color. It's in Very Sweet. I've used it in a whole bunch of other videos, so this will be interesting to see kind of how the two compare. Immediately upon like putting my finger in it, it's a lot less soft. But let's see how much pigment we get. So I'm just going to smile and apply it. Much more pigment than the Tata Harper blush. Blends really easily. Again, it has that like melt into your skin quality. It feels really soft and almost a little bit more dry than the Tata Harper lip to cheek tint. Alright, I'm going to apply some of this to my lips as well. I don't have anything on my lips and they're a tiny bit dry, so it'll be interesting to see if it's kind of nourishing and has that conditioning quality that it advertises. So it might be a tiny bit too light for my liking on my lips. The color is definitely a little bit lighter than I think I'm used to, but I do think it's really pretty. It is buildable. When I first put it on, it was more of like a pinky stain, and now it feels slightly more pigmented, but it's not like a lipstick or anything. It's not opaque. I can still see kind of my lip color through it. It would be interesting to try some of their darker colors to see if maybe that's a little bit more pigmented, but definitely for like an everyday kind of natural look, this would be comparable to a balm. And I actually feel like it is moisturizing my lips. My lips don't feel as dry as they were before. I really like the texture of it. And like I said, it just kind of looks like a stain, maybe a tiny bit darker, but definitely not opaque. So I just went and kind of like washed off my fingers, and now I'm just going to apply the highlight shade, which is the lighter side of the bronzer. I'm just going to use kind of the same brush, and I'm going to just apply it like this. And then I need a mirror. So this is what makes it complicated. I'm trying a new location because I like the background in this location a lot better, but I'm like literally right out on the street, and I don't have a table in front of me, so I need about 4 hands to make anything possible. So I have the highlight shade on, and I'm just gonna kind of brush it over the top. Again, really natural. You can just barely see kind of the shine, not strobing material, but definitely gives you a little glow. Alright guys, so that is the finished makeup look, and I have to say I like totally love what I've seen so far from these products. I definitely think my favorite is probably the cheek color and the bronzer. Well, I don't know. Now I'm thinking about the eyeshadows. I think if the pigment was slightly higher on the eyeshadows, they would definitely be my favorite just because they were so soft and really melted into my skin, and I think they give this like beautiful natural smoky eye look that I love. All the colors really complement each other, so you can tell there's a lot of thought put into them and kind of choosing what goes with what. It looks like they have about 2 eyeshadow palettes, so the other one is a lot darker and deeper, and that would be an interesting one to try to see if the pigment is a little bit more intense. I totally love the bronzer shade. It is not orangey at all. It doesn't have big chunks of glitter in it, which I know that doesn't seem like you're asking for a lot, but it's hard to find sometimes. And definitely on someone who has pale skin like me, it's kind of the perfect natural oomph to like whatever sort of skin tone you're dealing with. I for sure will be using that during the winter just to give me a healthy glow back into my skin, because I do tend to get shockingly even paler in the winter. It'll be nice to have a little bit of warmth warmth on my skin. The blush really melted into my skin, which I thought was great. The color is buildable, but it's not super pigmented, so you don't need to be nervous about putting it on. I feel like it's already like set into my face and it's not going to budge. It also doesn't feel heavy. In fact, it feels lighter than the Tata Harper Lip to Cheek tint, which I didn't think I would say because that is totally like a holy grail product of mine, and I think it still is, just because that is 100% natural, and this one is, you know, free of a lot of those toxins that we look for, but not 100% natural. But I will say that this feels really good on your skin, and I'm just totally impressed by that, and I just love kind of the healthy, flushed look it gives you without looking like you're wearing a pound of makeup. It wasn't my favorite on my lips, however. I think I would be interested in their darker colors to see if like a red kind of stain would look good. I think the packaging is absolutely beautiful, and like I said, that's something that you should go check out if you are a makeup lover. It is available at Sephora now. I'm not sure if it's every store or just a few. So there are some pluses, some minuses. I hope this was informative for you guys. I'm really excited to get to kind of introduce a brand that it sounds like not a ton of you have heard of. They're definitely on Instagram, so you can check them out there too. And thank you to Lilah B for actually sending me these products to try out. I really appreciate it, and it means that I'm able to kind of test them out on camera for you guys. If you guys learned something new or really enjoyed this video, feel free to head over to my Patreon page to support this channel. Otherwise, I post videos every Friday, and I really appreciate you guys coming back every week to watch. It's so fun to make, so fun to chat with you, so make sure to leave a comment down below and a thumbs up if you like this video. Alright guys, I will see you next week. Thank you again for watching. Bye!